Right, let's talk about cryptocurrency. It's that digital money thing that your nephew won't shut up about at Thanksgiving. You nod along, pretending to understand blockchain decentralization while secretly wondering if it's all just made-up internet points. Today we're looking at two players, Pi Network Remeditics. One of them has been around for a while, promising a future where everyone can mine crypto on their phones. The other is a newer project, focused on sending money across borders. Think of them as two different lottery tickets for the future of finance. Pi Network came onto the scene with a brilliant idea. It told everyone they could get in on the ground floor without needing a supercomputer. All you had to do was press a button on your phone once a day. It was simple, it was easy, it was free. Millions of people, and I mean millions, downloaded the app. They felt like pioneers, like early adopters who were going to be rich when Pi finally launched. It was a beautiful dream, a digital utopia where everyone gets a slice of the pie. But as we all know, dreams can sometimes take a very, very long time to come true. And that's where our other contender, Remeditics, enters the ring. Remeditics isn't trying to reinvent the wheel. It wants to make sending money from one country to another cheaper, faster. Let's rewind the clock a bit. When Pi Network first launched, the hype was absolutely electric. It was like the first week of a new school year but for crypto. Everyone was talking about it. The concept was so simple, it was genius. You didn't need to understand complex mining algorithms. You didn't need expensive hardware. All you needed was a smartphone, and the ability to remember to open an app once every 24 hours. This low barrier to entry was its superpower. It made cryptocurrency accessible to your grandma. It made cryptocurrency accessible to your mailman, your high school history teacher. It felt democratic. It felt like a revolution you could join from your couch. The referral system was another stroke of brilliance. It turned every user into a salesperson. You would get more Pi if you invited your friends, and they invited their friends. It created a massive, sprawling network in an incredibly short amount of time. People were sharing their referral codes everywhere. On Facebook, on Twitter, in the comments section of YouTube videos about cats. It grew like a weed, but a weed that everyone wanted in their garden. Forums and social media groups were filled with people calculating their potential future wealth. This was the golden age of Pi. So what happened? Where did the music stop? Well, it didn't stop so much as it just faded into a low, repetitive hum. The biggest problem? The wait. And it has been a long, long wait. Enclosed mainnet, stuck in limbo. Picoins exist, but you can't trade them for real money like Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's like a gift card to a store that hasn't opened yet. You can look at it, you can admire it, but you can't buy anything with it. The grand opening keeps getting pushed back. That endless delay drained enthusiasm. Tapping the daily button is easy if a payoff is months away but years without an end. That wears people down. Die-hard believers feel fatigue. The reminder to mine becomes a chore. Watching your Pi balance rise, then wondering, will this number ever mean anything? It's crypto stuck in traffic. At first you're patient, but after a while you just want out of the car. Lack of transparency on the launch date breeds frustration. Skepticism creeps in. They haven't become haters. They've moved on. Now while the Pi Network faithful have been waiting, a new project called Remeditics quietly set up shop and started, doing things. Remeditics didn't arrive with the same level of explosive viral hype. It didn't promise to make everyone a millionaire overnight. Instead, it came with a very specific and frankly, a very boring-sounding mission, to fix international money transfers. It's not as sexy as mining crypto on your phone, but it turns out that solving a real existing problem is a very attractive quality. It's the difference between a flashy concept car and a reliable Toyota that actually gets you to work every day. So what does Remeditics do? In simple terms, it uses blockchain technology to let people send money across borders quickly and with very low fees. Imagine you want to send $100 to a family member in another country. Normally you'd go to a bank or a service like Western Union. They would take your $100, charge you a hefty fee of, say, $10, and then the money would arrive a few days later. Remeditics built a system where that same $100 transfer could cost pennies and happen in minutes. It does this by using its own digital token, let's call it RMTX, as a bridge between different currencies, cutting out the slow, expensive banks in the middle. The appeal of Remeditics is its practicality. It's not selling a dream of future wealth, it's offering a tool that people can use today. This is a massive difference. For businesses that pay international suppliers or for immigrants sending money home to their families, this isn't just a novelty, it's a solution that saves them real money and real time. Let's talk about what it costs to get involved in these two projects. This is a crucial point. With Pi Network, the initial cost was, famously, zero. It cost nothing to download the app and start tapping the button. This was its magic. It was financially risk-free. You didn't have to invest your hard-earned money. The only thing you were investing was your time and your hope. The model attracted a massive number of users. It felt like a free lottery ticket. However, there's a hidden cost to free. No one paid money for their Pi coins, so their actual value is a huge unanswered question. If millions have billions of coins earned for almost nothing, what happens when they can finally sell? Basic economics. Massive supply plus everyone selling equals price plummet. The cost for Pi users is uncertainty. Asset of unknown quantity, asset of unknown future value. Remeditics, on the other hand, has a different approach. Getting into Remeditics isn't free. You must buy RMTX with real money, but the entry cost has been very low. Tokens were a fraction of a cent at the start. Early investors could stake in the project for the price of a few pizzas. Real ownership. Skin in the game. For many investors, that small upfront cost is worth it. Section 6. Growing pains versus growing gains. When we look at the numbers, the story becomes even clearer. For Pi Network, the most impressive number has always been its user count. Reaching over 50 million users is an incredible achievement, no question. It shows that their marketing and accessibility model worked flawlessly. However, after that initial massive growth, other important metrics have stagnated. The most critical number, the value of a Pi coin, remains zero because it cannot be officially traded on any major exchange. The project is rich in users but poor in economic activity. It's like a giant, beautiful stadium with no game being played inside. The growth of Pi Network now feels horizontal. The user base might inch up slowly, but the project itself isn't moving forward in a meaningful economic way. The daily activity consists of tapping a button, which doesn't generate any real value for the network. The project is stuck in a loop of user acquisition without a clear path to value creation. Now let's look at Remeditics. Its user numbers are much smaller than Pi's, but the numbers that matter for a financial project are growing rapidly. 6 months ago, the Remeditics network might have been processing $10,000 a day. Today, it might be processing $500,000 a day. This is a 50 times increase in real-world usage. This is a number that investors love to see, because it shows the service is not just an idea, it's something people are actively using. As more people use RMTX to send money, demand for the token increases, and can lead to a steady price rise. It's a simple equation: more use equals more value, and right now, those numbers point straight up. Section 7. Crossing the aisle. The shift in investor sentiment isn't just a theory, we can see it happening in real stories from real people. Take the example of a small business owner. Let's call her Maria. Maria runs an online shop and buys handmade crafts from artisans in 3 different countries. For years, she used wire transfers to pay them, losing a significant chunk of her profits to bank fees. She was an early Pi Network user, attracted by the promise of a new financial future. She tapped the button daily for over 3 years, hoping it would one day simplify her business payments. A few months ago, a colleague told her about Remeditics. Skeptical at first, she decided to try it for a small payment of $200. The transfer cost her less than $1 in fees and arrived in under 10 minutes. For Maria, this was a game changer. It wasn't a future promise, it was a present-day solution. She quickly moved all her international payments to the Remeditics platform. Consider a graphic designer named Ben, who lives in Southeast Asia and works for clients in the United States and Europe. Getting paid used to be a headache, fees and delays. He discovered Remeditics through a forum discussing low-fee payment alternatives for gig workers. He convinced one of his clients to pay him using RMTX tokens. The client bought the tokens on an exchange and sent them directly to Ben's digital wallet. The entire process was fast and cost a fraction of what he used to pay. Ben now asks all his clients to pay him through Remeditics. He has become an advocate for the platform, not because he expects to get rich overnight, but because it makes his professional life easier and more profitable. He and many others like him have switched their focus from Pi's potential future to Remeditics' current usefulness. Section 8. The core difference: a working product versus a future promise. When you strip everything else away, the fundamental difference between Pi Network and Remeditics comes down to one simple thing: a working product versus a future promise. Pi Network is selling a ticket to a movie that hasn't been made yet. The poster looks amazing. They have sold millions of tickets. But there is no film to watch. The studio keeps saying coming soon, but the release date is always a mystery. The audience is getting restless because they want to see the movie they were promised. A project raises interest and builds a huge community based on a grand vision described in a white paper. The hope is that the community's size will attract resources and developers to make the vision a reality. Sometimes this works, but it's a risky bet. It requires immense patience from the community and flawless execution from the development team. With Pi Network, the patience is wearing thin because the delivery of a tradable coin has been delayed for so long. Remeditics chose the opposite path. It built the movie first, maybe a short independent film, and then invited people to come watch it. It focused on creating a functional product before building a massive community. Its strategy was to prove it could do what it said. By launching a usable platform for international remittances, it demonstrated its value immediately. Users and investors can look at real data, transaction speeds, network fees, daily volume. This creates a much more solid foundation for long-term belief. While the promise of Pi Network remains a beautiful but distant mirage, Remeditics is an oasis that people can actually drink from today. And in the harsh desert of crypto speculation, a real oasis is worth 1,000 mirages. Section 9, the final verdict. Where should your attention go? So after all this, what's the takeaway? We've seen the rise of Pi Network, fueled by a brilliant idea of making crypto accessible to everyone. It gathered a massive following based on a promise of future value. But we've also seen how enthusiasm can fade when that future takes too long to arrive. The endless waiting and lack of a clear launch date have created a cloud of uncertainty that has pushed many early believers to look for other opportunities. The party, while not over, has certainly lost much of its initial energy and excitement. Then we have Remeditics, a project that took a completely different route. It didn't aim for viral growth through freebies. Instead, it focused on solving a specific real-world problem, making international money transfers cheap and fast. It built a working product first. Growth driven by actual usage, utility rather than speculation. Its clear progress has built a foundation of trust. It is attracting investors who are tired of waiting for promises and are looking for projects that deliver tangible results. It's the age-old battle between hype and substance. Hype can build a massive community and generate incredible excitement, but it has a shelf life. Substance, a working product that solves a real problem, is what creates sustainable, long-term value. The shift in attention from Pi Network to projects like Remeditics is a sign that the market is maturing. People are learning to look past the promises and search for the proof. Ultimately, where you put your attention and your money is your own decision. But as of today, August 24, 2025, the trend is clear. The excitement is moving away from projects stuck in a perpetual coming soon phase and toward those that are delivering value right now. The real reason investors are ditching the promise of Pi for the reality of Remeditics is simple. They've decided they would rather own a small piece of something real than a large piece of something that might forever remain a dream. And frankly, in the wild world of cryptocurrency, that seems like a pretty sensible choice. Visual outro, channel logo, subscribe reminder, recommended video thumbnails, end slate with attribution, music, YouTube audio library, chosen track name.